You ever look in the mirror and realize the person staring back at you isn't living anywhere close to the life they were built for? Not because you're not talented, not because you're not smart, not because you're not capable, but because you've allowed a quiet, invisible enemy to steal your fire. Laziness. And the dangerous part is, it doesn't show up loud, it doesn't show up like a storm, it shows up soft, it shows up soft, it shows up slowly. It shows up as I'll do it tomorrow. I'm tired. You don't feel like it. I'll start later. Before you even notice, it wraps itself around your potential and suffocates it. And the worst part, you start accepting it. You start believing that this is who you are now. But deep down, you know you're lying to yourself because something inside you is not okay with being average. Something inside you screams every time you waste another day. Something in you knows you were built for more, but you keep silencing that voice with comfort, with distractions, with excuses. And that's why you're here right now. That's why you press play. Because a part of you is done living like this. A part of you is tired of feeling behind. A part of you is tired of waking up with regret. A part of you wants to take your power back. And that part of you, that hungry, frustrated, fed up part, that's the real you. That's the you that's been buried under layers of laziness, fear, and procrastination. Today, we're pulling that version back to the surface. Listen carefully. Your life is not waiting for you. Your dreams are not waiting for you. Your future self is not waiting for you. Every second you sit still, someone else is working. Someone else is grinding. Someone else is improving. Someone else is getting closer to the life you say you want. And you know that. That's why it eats at you. That's why it bothers you. That's why your chest gets tight when you think about all the time you've thrown away. Because you know you're supposed to be further. You know you have more inside you. You know that the only thing standing between you and the life you want is your willingness to move. And if you really want to change, if you truly want to rise, transform, grow, you have to be honest with yourself. Laziness is not a personality trait. It's a choice you've repeated so often that it started to feel like your identity, but it's not. You are not lazy. You've just been living beneath your potential. And today we're done with that. We're done with that. We're done letting feelings dictate our future. We're done letting comfort kill our greatness. We're done living soft. This is the moment where you stop running from the work and start running toward your purpose. This is the moment where you stop negotiating with your excuses. This is the moment where you draw a line in the sand and say, no more, not me, not my life, not my future. Because once you break laziness, once you build discipline, once you decide that nothing, not your mood, not your comfort, not your fear, will control your effort, you become unstoppable. So sit up, lock in, pay attention, because the version of you who's about to rise from this moment, that version changes everything. Laziness doesn't start in your body, it starts in your belief system. And that's why most people never escape it. They think laziness is about being tired, unmotivated, or lacking energy. But the real truth is far darker. Laziness is a mindset that grows when you let excuses take the driver's seat. When you keep telling yourself, I'll do it later, you aren't postponing the task. You're postponing your future. Procrastination becomes a habit, a default reaction, a silent thief that steals your potential in small, unnoticeable pieces until one day you look in the mirror and don't recognize the person staring back anymore. You know you were meant for more, but you can't touch it because you've trained your mind to run from effort instead of running toward it. That is the real poison of procrastination. It convinces you that tomorrow is guaranteed, that opportunities will wait for you, that your potential has no expiration date. But everything in life has a cost, and procrastination makes you pay it slowly, painfully, and with your own regret. Think about the moments you told yourself you would start tomorrow. Did tomorrow ever come? Or did it turn into another excuse, another negotiation, another just 5 more minutes? The tragedy of procrastination is that it feels harmless in the moment. It feels like relief. It feels like relief. It feels like comfort. But comfort is the enemy of growth. Comfort keeps you weak, keeps you average, keeps you silent when you should be moving. Every time you delay a responsibility, something inside you gets smaller. Your discipline, your self-belief, your identity. You start doubting yourself, not because you aren't capable, but because deep down you know you're living beneath your own standards. The pain isn't in the work, The pain is in constantly betraying your own potential. Procrastination becomes a lifestyle when you stop keeping promises to yourself. You might be someone who shows up for others, who helps friends, who supports family, but when it comes to your own dreams, your own goals, your own life, you keep pushing it aside. Why? Because you fear the discomfort, you fear the effort, you fear the possibility of failing. So instead you cling to the illusion of a later. But that fear is exactly why procrastination owns you. You let your emotions dictate your actions. You wait to feel ready before you start. You wait for motivation, for inspiration, for the perfect moment. But successful people don't wait. They execute, they act, they move even when they don't want to, because discipline has nothing to do with desire. If you only work when it feels good, you will never grow. The worst part about procrastination is that it numbs your potential. You stop dreaming big because you no longer trust yourself to follow through. You shrink your goals to match your habits. You lower your expectations to match your laziness. And then you wonder why life feels dull, why progress feels slow, why nothing ever changes. It's not because you're unlucky. It's not because life is unfair. It's because you've been living your life in delay mode, always prepared but never performing. Imagine if you actually did the things you said you would do. Imagine if you stopped negotiating with your excuses. Imagine if you took action the moment your mind tried to delay. Your life would transform faster than you can even imagine. Talent doesn't separate people. Opportunity doesn't separate people. Discipline does. And procrastination kills discipline before it even begins. The moment you stop giving procrastination a voice is the moment your life begins to change. It won't be easy. Breaking a habit never is, but it will be worth it. You have to learn to act before you feel ready, to move before the world pushes you, to attack the day instead of letting the day control you. Every time you choose action over delay, you rebuild your confidence. You rebuild your identity. You become someone who can trust themselves again. Procrastination doesn't care about your dreams. It doesn't care about your potential. It doesn't care about your future. It only cares about keeping you comfortable. And comfort is where your greatness goes to die. If you want to stop being lazy, you must declare war on delay. You must treat every excuse like an enemy. You must punish hesitation and reward action. Your life is shaped in the moments when no one is watching. The moments when you choose to work instead of wait, to build instead of hide, to grind instead of quit. You have wasted enough time negotiating with your weakness. It's time to take your power back. You don't need motivation. You need movement. You don't need inspiration. You need action. Your future self is waiting for you, but you'll never meet them if you keep in them all. Stop delaying the life you know you were meant to live. The clock is ticking. The excuses are loud, but your discipline must be louder. Laziness wins most of the time, not because you aren't capable, but because your environment is built to keep you comfortable, distracted, entertained, and mentally asleep. People underestimate how powerful surroundings are. You can have ambition in your heart, hunger in your soul, and dreams in your mind. But if you wake up every day in an environment that feeds your weakness instead of your discipline, you will lose that battle before it even begins. A lazy environment doesn't always look like messiness or chaos. Sometimes it's your bed within arm's reach of your phone. Sometimes it's the friends who never talk about goals, never challenge you, never push you. Sometimes it's the quiet routines you've been repeating for months or years that subconsciously teach your brain that staying the same is safer than stepping forward. Your environment shapes your behavior without you realizing it, because human beings adapt to whatever they surround themselves with. The problem is that you've adapted to comfort, and comfort has become your cage. You walk into your room and everything around you whispers a slow down, a relax, a chill, a tomorrow. Your phone is right there offering quick dopamine, quick distraction, quick escape. Your habits are built around convenience, not commitment. You've trained your body and mind to associate home with rest instead of growth, to associate free time with scroll instead of building, to associate boredom with entertainment instead of improvement. This is why laziness always feels stronger than discipline, because discipline has no space to breathe in the environment you've created. You try to fight your weaknesses, but your surroundings keep supplying them with fuel every single day. If you want to stop being lazy, you don't fix your motivation first. You fix your environment, you strip it of anything that feeds your excuses. You remove the easy escape routes. You make your space feel like a place where growth is expected, not optional. The reason athletes, soldiers, entrepreneurs, and high performers rise so fast is because their environment demands it. When you're surrounded by people who push limits, you start pushing yours. When you're surrounded by routines that require discipline, you rise to match them. When you step into spaces built for focus, your mind naturally sharpens. But when your environment is built for comfort, you will always fall back into laziness, no matter how badly you want to change. Think about the people around you. Are they pushing you or holding you back? Are they building dreams or wasting time? Energy is contagious. Laziness is contagious. Ambition is contagious. Discipline is contagious. The people you surround yourself with slowly become your standard. If everyone around you is drifting through life, scrolling for hours, avoiding accountability, giving bare minimum effort, then you will not rise above them. You will sink to their level. Not because you're weak, but because we are wired to fit in with our environment. If you want to rise, you must place yourself among people who rise. If you want to be disciplined, you must surround yourself with people who treat discipline like oxygen. If you want to win, you must stand next to winners. Your environment also includes your habits, the small, invisible actions you take daily that shape your identity. Laziness doesn't show up in big moments. It shows up in tiny decisions. Hitting snooze, scrolling for just a minute, skipping one task, choosing comfort over progress. One small compromise becomes 2, then 10, then a pattern, then a lifestyle. You don't become lazy overnight. You become lazy decision by decision. And every time you choose comfort, you strengthen the identity of someone who avoids effort. That identity becomes harder to break the longer you reinforce it. The only way to change yourself is to make uncomfortable decisions feel normal again. You have to train your environment to push you toward the harder choice, not the easier one. Build routines that force discipline. Put your phone away from your bed. Turn your workspace into a place where you can only focus. Remove clutter so your mind has room to think. Replace toxic people with quiet time or with people who are hungry like you. Replace excuses with system. Put reminders in your environment that confront your laziness instead of feeding it. A disciplined environment doesn't rely on willpower. It makes discipline the default option. That's why people who create structure win. Not because they're stronger, but because they eliminated the things that made them weak. Even emotionally, your environment affects you. If you're surrounded by negativity, you feel defeated before you try. If you're surrounded by comfort, you feel calm when you should feel pressure. If you're surrounded by distraction, your mind loses the ability to focus deeply. You have to create an environment that feels uncomfortable when you're not moving forward. You need a space that pushes you, routines that challenge you, and people who refuse to let you stay average. And let's be honest, the environment that made you lazy wasn't built overnight. It was built slowly, unintentionally. You didn't wake up one day and decide to settle. You settled little by little. But now you must build with intention. You must design a lifestyle that forces you to rise. Your surroundings should make you want to get up earlier. They should make you want to work harder. They should remind you of your goals every time you step into the room. You should feel a sense of responsibility when you sit at your desk, a sense of urgency when you look at your calendar, a sense of purpose when you see the space you created for your growth. Because here's the truth. You can have all the dreams in the world, but if your environment feeds your laziness, your dreams will starve. Success is not about talent. It's about alignment. Your mindset, your actions, and your environment must all move in the same direction. If even one of them is pulling you toward comfort, you will fail. But if your environment starts pushing you, everything becomes easier. Your focus sharpens. Your discipline grows. Your habits strengthen. Your identity evolves. You have more potential than you're showing. You have more discipline than you're using. You have more greatness than you're displaying. But none of it will surface until you destroy the environment that keeps you stuck. Remove the distractions, eliminate the temptations. Distance yourself from negative people. Redesign your routines and build a space where laziness cannot survive. Because once your environment changes, your behavior changes. And once your behavior changes, your life changes. Your life changes. The version of you that you're chasing, the disciplined, powerful, unstoppable version, is waiting on the other side of the environment you choose to build, Dot. You have to understand something most people never realize. Laziness is not a behavior problem. It's a mindset problem. It starts in your head long before it shows up in your habits. Laziness is what happens when your mind gets too comfortable hearing your excuses. It's what happens when you repeated the same weak story to yourself so many times that you now believe it. I'll do it later. I'm too tired. I'm not ready yet. I'll start tomorrow. These phrases sound harmless, but they are mental poison. And the more you drink them, the weaker you become. The third key to stop being lazy is to completely rewire the way you think. To break the mental patterns that have been controlling you, draining you, and convincing you to settle. Because if you don't conquer the thoughts that create laziness, you can't conquer the laziness itself. Your mind is like a battlefield. Every day you're fighting against comfort, doubt, distraction, boredom, fear, and resistance. Those forces live inside your head and they know exactly how to manipulate you. They whisper to you at the exact moment you should act. They paralyze you when you should be moving. They slow you down when you should be stepping up. And you don't defeat them by trying harder. You defeat them by thinking differently. You defeat them by refusing to let your mind negotiate with your goals. Because laziness doesn't start when you lie on the couch or stay in bed. Laziness starts the moment you begin negotiating with your responsibilities. The moment your mind says, just 5 more minutes, and you listen, you've already lost that battle. Your body only follows what your mind already surrendered to. The truth is, most people are lazy not because they don't have ambition, but because their thoughts are undisciplined. Their minds wander, their emotions lead, their excuses speak louder than their goals. Their focus breaks at the slightest discomfort. You have to train your mind the same way an athlete trains their body. You have to build mental toughness, mental structure, and mental clarity. You have to develop the ability to override your feelings with your commitments. When your mind says, I don't feel like it, you must respond with, I didn't ask. That is mental discipline, making decisions based on who you want to become, not on how you feel in the moment. And this shift doesn't happen overnight. You have to consciously interrupt the thoughts that feed your laziness. When your mind says, you can do it later, you counter with, later is how I got stuck where I am. When your mind says, we're tired, you think, but I've survived worse. When your mind says, just skip it today, you respond, this is exactly why I must do it today. You retrain your brain by replacing weak thoughts with strong ones, excuses with accountability, fear with clarity, and comfort with purpose. You teach your mind that effort is the automatic response, not avoidance. You build a mental identity around discipline until your excuses no longer feel natural and your commitment does. You also have to change the way you perceive discomfort. Lazy people run from discomfort because they believe discomfort is a signal to stop. High achievers understand discomfort is a signal to grow. If your mind views discomfort as danger, you'll always retreat into laziness. But if you train your mind to see discomfort as proof that you're leveling up, then suddenly effort becomes empowering. You don't avoid it, you chase it. You stop interpreting challenges as resistance and start interpreting them as transformation. Your mind becomes stronger than your excuses, stronger than your emotions, stronger than your fear. And once that happens, laziness has nowhere left to live inside you. Another major part of rewiring your mindset is changing your relationship with identity. You've told yourself for so long that you're someone who procrastinates, someone who lacks discipline, someone who struggles with consistency, someone who's lazy. And your brain has been obeying the identity you keep reinforcing. If you call yourself lazy, your actions will follow laziness. If you call yourself undisciplined, your habits will reflect it. You act according to who you think you are. So you must start seeing yourself differently. You must begin speaking to yourself like someone who is capable, committed, consistent, and hungry. You must decide that you are no longer the old version of yourself. That version is gone. This is how you break the laziness identity, by refusing to identify with it anymore. Your mind cannot produce disciplined actions while believing it belongs to a lazy person. You have to change the identity first, then the behavior follows. Rewiring your mindset also means eliminating the mental clutter that destroys focus, overthinking, self-doubt, comparing yourself to others. All of this drains your energy before you even start working. It's not that you're too lazy to work, it's that your mind is too crowded to focus. You have to clear space in your head. You have to stop giving attention to thoughts that don't move you forward. You need mental clarity so you can redirect your energy toward discipline instead of distraction. Most people don't fail because they're incapable. They fail because their mind is too noisy. You need to silence that noise. You need to remove the mental chaos that keeps you inactive. A clear mind produces a disciplined life. And let's talk about the power of internal language. The words you use in your mind build your emotional state. If your inner voice is negative, weak, and passive, then laziness becomes your default response. But if your inner voice is strong, direct, and aggressive, laziness becomes uncomfortable. A disciplined mindset uses language like a must, a now, a no excuses, a get up, a keep going. And not in a toxic way, but in a powerful, self-commanding way. You must speak to yourself like someone who expects greatness from themselves. When your internal language changes, your internal drive changes. Lastly, rewiring your mind requires understanding your true purpose. Laziness thrives when you forget why you started. When your goals feel distant, when your dreams feel unclear, when your purpose feels disconnected from your daily actions, you lose urgency, you lose fire, you lose hunger. But when you reconnect deeply with what you want, why you want it, and who you need to become to get it, your mindset shifts dramatically. Purpose kills laziness. Purpose makes discipline feel meaningful. Purpose gives effort a heartbeat. When you know what you're fighting for, you stop negotiating with yourself. You stop allowing your emotions to decide your future. You stop letting comfort steal your potential. Rewiring your mindset is the final key because it affects everything: your environment, your habits, your routines, your discipline, your consistency, your goals. If your mind doesn't change, nothing changes. But when your mind becomes stronger than your excuses, laziness loses its power. When your thoughts align with your goals, your actions follow automatically. You become someone who moves with intention, someone who chooses effort over comfort, someone who shows up regardless of emotion. You transform from a person controlled by laziness into a person driven by purpose. And once your mindset rises, your entire life rises with it. In the end, everything you want in life comes down to a single question. Are you going to let your feelings control your future, or are you going to control your feelings and build the future you deserve? Because laziness is not just a habit, it's a thief. It steals your time, your potential, your opportunities, your confidence, and your greatness piece by piece, day by day, while you sit there thinking you have all the time in the world. You don't. Every sunrise is a reminder that the clock is moving, whether you move or not. And you have to decide if you're going to keep waking up and watching your dreams slip through your fingers, or today is the day you finally stand up and take your power back. You are not weak. You are not broken. You are not stuck. You've just been too comfortable listening to the wrong voice inside you. The voice of excuses, the voice of comfort, the voice of fear, the voice that wants to keep you average. But you also have another voice, a stronger one, a louder one, a voice that remembers who you were meant to be. And that voice has been whispering to you for years. Hey, get up. You're made for more. Stop wasting your life. This is the voice you need to answer now. This is the voice that will break your laziness. This is the voice that will lead you to the life you've always imagined. Understand this. No one is coming to save you. No one is coming to push you. No one is coming to force you to change. The world does not reward potential. It rewards action. It rewards discipline. It rewards the people who show up even when it hurts, even when they're tired, even when they don't feel like it. You have to be that person for yourself. You have to be your own hero, your own motivator, your own source of discipline. Because when you learn to push yourself, truly push yourself, you become unstoppable. You become the kind of person who doesn't wait for motivation because you've become the motivation. And listen, you don't win this battle in giant leaps. You win it in small decisions. The decision to get up when you want to sleep in. The decision to work when you'd rather relax. The decision to push harder when your mind tells you to stop. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, You are rewriting who you are. You are becoming the version of yourself that you've always dreamed of. The version that doesn't quit, doesn't fold, doesn't hide. The version that rises. So as you walk away from this message, carry this with you. Your life will not change when it gets easier. Your life will change when you get stronger. And you are capable of more strength, more discipline, more power than you've ever given yourself credit for. This is your moment to break the cycle, to step into your potential, to refuse laziness any place in your life ever again. Stand up, lock in, go all in. Your future is waiting, but it won't wait forever.